What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, as always, I'm joined by Shannon.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? Welcome to another week of the podcast. So if you have not done already, please go back and listen to Ask SSP with Yvonne Rivera. So she's the CEO, CISO, and co-founder of CyberMight. So it was a really good interview about what she does, her cybersecurity origin story, and then just what it means to be an entrepreneur. So definitely check that out. And then this week, I don't believe I have one lined up, but then I have several more after that. So definitely continue to tune in. There might be a throwback this week, but without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this first article comes from apnews.com, and it's written by Christina Cassidy. The title of this one is Multiple Threats to Election Systems Prompt U.S. Cybersecurity Agency to Boost Cooperation with States. Okay, so we had to know this was coming, right? So like as 2024 is upon us, right? It's an election year. We all seen what has happened in the past, right? When it came to 2016, 2020. So we knew this was something that was going to get a little bit of focus, right? Now, mind you, no matter what has been disproven, right? It's always something that comes up about, there being election interference through way of cybersecurity hacking, right? Like the machines aren't doing what they need to, things of that nature. Well, CISA is getting ahead of that this year, right? So they introduced a program this week to the National Association of State Election Directors and National Association of Secretaries of State that are meeting in the nation's capital, right? So they're meeting in DC, and what they're doing is they're going and they have a list of security challenges that keep growing, right? Whether it be getting a message out about there being election interference, right? And from a cybersecurity perspective, right? And then a potential cyber attacks, talking about those, them coming from foreign governments, because that was a hot topic, right? That we've seen in the last several years. Is that being a thing? It's even being talked about now by some people still, right? But what they want to talk about is how they deal with this, right? And misinformation is something they mentioned in this as well, right? So it's not necessarily cybersecurity specific, right? Where you put hands on keyboards to deal with something, but it is something that needs to be addressed, because you have people out there that no matter what you tell them, right? If things just don't go their way, they believe, oh, it's because of this, that, and the third. It just can't take it, right? So dealing with the misinformation thing, it's a way to deal with the undermining of public confidence, right? So we talk about this on the show all the time, right? It's the trust factor, right? If the people out there that are voting don't think that the machines that they're using are safe, they maybe won't vote, right? Or they'll come up with an excuse on why things didn't go their way. We just don't need that, right? It can lead to violence and things of that nature. And that's just what we're trying to avoid here. So they're out here talking. They're out here having this meeting, and then again in DC, where they're talking about these things, right? So it's a difficult cybersecurity environment to navigate in these days, but this is how CISA is trying to get ahead of it to deal with it, right? And they're talking about scanning voter registration systems for vulnerabilities. Like there's just different things that they're talking about, right? So we talked about this, I want to say it was like a month ago. We were talking about the United States government dealing with critical infrastructure systems, right? And so what they said was election systems were designated as critical infrastructure, right? With your banks, your water systems, nuclear power plants, things of that nature. So with that being the case, this is something they do have to address, right? They have to go out there and make sure they're helping as much as they can, getting the information out there, for these states that maybe aren't divesting as much energy into dealing with this, right? But it's one of those things where you got to get ahead of it, so that if the time comes to where this is a major issue again, come election time, come November of this year, they can be out in front and say, no, this is how we dealt with this. This is what we did. So that shouldn't be something that comes up, you know what I mean? Try to instill that public confidence, like I was talking about earlier. But we'll see how it goes. I mean, this is a good way. I mean, they're a good 8 months, 9 months ahead of this, right? So the hope is that we don't have that same, I don't want to say excuse, but we don't have those same reasonings later on in the year when people start doubting, their voting systems and things like that, right? Or you have a whoever the next My Pillow guy is putting up $5 million or whatever to try to to try to discredit election systems. So they're trying to get ahead of it. So good on CISA, right, for doing their part, right, and hopefully. The efforts don't go unappreciated or unnoticed, but I have my doubts. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you hit the nail on the head when it comes to public trust. So I always forget, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. There's a bell involved, hit the bell so you can know when we release new episodes, which we do every single week, Monday through Friday. Um, but yeah, I think the instilling public trust, because I don't feel like talking about this for 4 years after the election, right? Or infinitely is what it seems to be. So it's good to see them step their game up. I shout out to CISA just in general. They seem to be one of the most nimble federal agencies, uh, period. Like Jen Easterly is doing her thing over there. This is how quickly they're able to move and to just be aggressive towards these different initiatives. Because as we both know, the federal government or the DoD in general sometimes can be very slow, right? So a huge ship. It takes a long time to turn, depending on anything outside of war takes time, right? So it's good to see that they're able to attack these initiatives so quickly. Um, at the end of the day, I don't understand why we still do it the way we do it. It's a very archaic system. Like you said, it's deemed critical infrastructure, and they have to secure it. However, the most critical of infrastructures is our banking system, and we're able to do that from our phone. Why can I not vote from my phone? I just don't get it. It's the excuse saying that it will be the fraud will go up and that you can't trust people and all those other things, but you're able to, like, literally people's lives blood is on the line. Like, people do not play around with their money in the States. You trust your bank through your phone. Why can I not vote through my phone? Why are we still going to polling places and then having to talk about it where they say people are like interfering with the vote? There are people who are not counting the vote. There are machines that are damaged. There are the people who don't understand what they're voting for. Like, but people are able to move large sums of money through their cell phone. I don't get it. Like, why can't we not authenticate, have tokens? I think it would be easier to vote from your phone than it is to use all these lumberous machines that no one trusts. Because you trust your phone with your life. So I don't get it. Like, I hope that's the future, but the way people feel is that you can't, like, maybe it's a generational shift, right? Like, after uh what came before boomers? What was that age group called? Because it's boomers, X, and then us millennials. What was before boomers?
Was that the
Uh
Gen Z? Was that the Gen Z?
no,
Um,
no. But yeah, that's the more modern. Are boomers the last of the, like, that's like the great generation or whatever, right? Like, are the boomers the last of that? Is there no one before the boomers? But whatever that generation is, I think, like, once we get past that generation and the boomer generation and we get to Gen X, well, I don't know. I don't think Gen X feels confident in voting from their phone either. Like, they're a little bit more hard-edged as well. Like, millennials, we'll vote from our phone. Not to bash, yeah, because we're just on the bridge, right? Like, I'm an elder millennial and you'd be Gen X. So I'm
yeah.
not trying to bash your generation. All right, Shannon. But
Look, look, I'm still a millennial.
are you?
I
Like,
was
it
born,
keeps changing.
I was like the oldest millennial. Like some people don't even go by the year group thing. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
yeah. So
Like,
it's
it keeps changing because I was just on the cusp of millennial. Now you're a millennial. We're only like a year or two apart. It's not a decade between us.
yeah, I think that's why. It's like I am the oldest millennial. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Okay. I guess
sometimes.
I'm not an elder millennial anymore. I'm just a regular millennial. I've lost my status.
So before the baby boomers was the silent generation. And then the
Oh,
greatest generation was before that. Greatest generation was born 1901 to 1927. Silent generation was 1928 to 1945, which some of them are still out there, right?
right.
And baby boomers, Generation X, millennials, Generation Z.
Okay. We got to get to millennials. So we got another 40, 50 years. That's going to be a while. People live longer than they ever lived before, right? Like we just keep, because I'm going to be at least 120. I don't know about you,
Ooh,
but
I'm suffering in my 40s, man. Like I don't know. Sometimes I wake up, I'm like, oh.
I have a cure for that. I have a cure for that. We're working on it. But I guess I've taken this down a rabbit hole. But I'm just saying, like, it's good to see that they're getting behind it, that they're protecting the voting systems. I just hope that we evolve out of our current archaic system, right? Right. I remember the disputes about Florida, right? When it was Bush versus Al Gore, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, like we've come, we haven't come a long way since then, and I want us to evolve past that. Like, why we're not using these digital systems that are secure? Like your phone is way more secure than most things. It's only going to become more secure, right? Like now you're unlocking it from with your face. You get individual tokens. Passwords are going away. We keep saying that, but I feel that it's right around the corner. The authentication is stronger than ever, and then your bank is already on your phone. So if your bank can be on your phone, your medical records can be on your phone, your IDs will start to be on your phone. I can't wait for that. That's right around the corner. Like once the driver's license is part of the phone, then the voter registration card should be part of your phone as well, and then it should be just you on that day accessing the system and casting your vote.
So I like the idea, but I think the reason behind that is that most people don't take proper security with their phones, right? So like as it stands right now, I mean, there are people that still leave their phones unlocked, right? So if it's a matter of, getting in there, they leave their phones unlocked and then they don't log into, these apps. They just leave them up all the time. They don't enable any type of, login features to make it easy for them. So
Right.
someone leaves their phone, which seems to happen very often now. I mean, you got the keys to the kingdom, right? At that point. So
That's true. I don't know. Maybe it's a matter of the manufacturers, the and what is it?
developer, the
Yeah,
app
the
developer.
developers, yeah, or just in general, like okay, your phone has to just like if you work for a business, like if you work for a company, there would be restrictions already on your phone. Like maybe you should, maybe I should go down the rabbit hole because now I'm taking away freedom. But
Patriot,
maybe you have
come
to
over here
opt
with me.
in. Maybe it's a matter of fact, like so when you use your personal phone, like you bring your own device, uh, when it comes to your business, there's a secure app side, right? That you can only access that already has restrictions and features, things of that nature. So maybe there'll be two halves to your phone. There'll be your whatever you want to do with your phone, and then there'll be the secure side. Because people do get kind of weird about like, I don't want the government on my phone. The government's already in your phone. It's too late for that. There's no coming back. Um, but we'll see what the future holds. So again, shout out to CISA for getting on top of this way in advance, right? Because this year is going to be rough, and then the following year of rebuffs and rebuttals is going to be even rougher. Like, so we'll see how all this turns out. But it's good to see that they're stepping up and they're able to quickly act to protect those voting systems. And again, I'm trying to predict the future here. We need to get off of those things because it's archaic, and we're supposed to be the most free and advanced country on the planet. It doesn't feel like it sometimes. So definitely continue to tune in throughout the weeks. Monday, Tuesday are topics. Wednesday discussion. This week is pretty much all about American infrastructure.
Being under attack.
Yeah. So definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. And then Friday, everything else, some movies, books, games, all that good stuff. Uh, hit up the website, or hit up all the websites that go by our name. Give me a person. I'm at RYRY Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, Twitter, and Threads. Stay safe, stay secure.